Okay, we're going to get started more in economics with trade-offs and opportunity cost. And every day you make decisions and you have to make choices. There are so many options that you could do with your time, with your money, and all of those different things that you can do are called trade-offs. So a trade-off is the act of giving up one benefit in order to gain another greater benefit. You chose to come to school because it gave you a greater benefit than staying at home, going shopping, playing Xbox. Now, you might not enjoy it as much, but the benefit you have decided is greater than the cost, so that's why you chose to do this. Some of the trade-offs are easily measured. When you take money and you spend it, you can spend $100 on all kinds of different things, but what you choose to buy and what you choose not to buy, those are all the trade-offs. Some are not easily measured. Why you make a choice to do one job over another. Some people choose low-paying jobs over high-paying because they make them happier. Some people would choose the higher-paying job because they want the money and that the enjoyment for the job comes second. So everyone makes trade-offs, whether it's individuals, businesses, or governments. And once again, when you pick a high or a low-paying job over a high-paying because you enjoy it more, that would be more an example of what I've done. I know I could go out in the private sector and make a lot more money with the degrees that I have, but because I enjoy teaching so much, I take a lower paying job that I enjoy more. My husband, on the other hand, David, works at Chrysler, makes a lot more money than he did when he was in carpentry, which he enjoys a lot more, but he likes the paycheck, the benefits, and the security that that job gives him. Businesses, they have to choose what they're going to make with their plant and equipment. Farmers have to decide what crop they're going to plant. So when they plant one, they obviously can't plant another one that particular year, so that's a trade-off. Government trade-offs are typically called guns and butter. And what that basically means is when the government spends money on military, that money cannot be spent on domestic needs. And when they spend money on domestic needs, that same money can't be spent on money. So they make those decisions all of the time. Dwight Eisenhower, who was the president, gave a speech regarding guns and butter, and he said, "Every gun that is made, every warship launched, every rocket fired signifies in the final sense a theft from those who hunger and are not fed, those who are cold and not clothed. This world in arms is not spending money alone. It is spending the sweat of its laborers, the genius of its scientists, the hopes of its children." And so basically what that means is when scientists take all of that time and energy towards making weapons, they can't use those to make anything else, cures for diseases. So using their talents in a positive way. The quote goes on to say, "The cost of one modern heavy bomber is this: a modern brick school in more than 30 cities. It is 2 electric power plants, each serving a town of 60,000 population. It is 2 fine, fully equipped hospitals. It is some 50 miles of concrete pavement. We pay for a single fighter with 500,000 bushels of wheat. We pay for a single destroyer with new homes that could have housed more than 8,000 people. This is not a way of life at all in any true sense. Under the cloud of threatening war, it is humanity hanging from a cross of iron." So what he's saying is when we take all of our resources, which we know are scarce, and we use them to create all of these military or these guns, we do that at the cost of all of these other things domestically, which they would term as butter. Opportunity cost of a decision is the next best alternative given up when a choice is made. So basically what that's saying is if you have $100, you have all kinds of ways that you can spend that. And let's say you narrow that down to there are 2 things, and then you finally have to decide with that $100, I can either buy a good A or a good B, and you take and you buy A. Good B is the opportunity cost. By purchasing A, you give up the opportunity to purchase the other thing. So the whole entire list are the trade-offs. Everything that you could write down that you would want to purchase with that $100, those are your trade-offs. You make your choice, you buy whatever it is, and that next best thing, the next alternative that you give up, you've given up an opportunity to purchase that. So in any decision, there can be many trade-offs. All the things that you can do on a Saturday night, all the things that you can do with money, all the things that businesses can do with a building, all the things that government can do with their money. But when the choice is finally made, the opportunity cost is the choice that came in second. There is only one opportunity cost, but there are many trade-offs. Sometimes opportunity cost of a decision is unclear, and so it can be helpful to use a decision grid to make those choices. So what you can do is define the problem, and many of you are facing, what college am I going to go to? What major am I going to do? Am I going to go into the military? Am I going to go to a trade school? So you have all of this list of alternatives that you can do in the next 2 to 4 years. Then you have some criteria on how you're going to base that decision. How close is it to home? Are my friends going there? How expensive? Do they offer my major? So you'll put your alternatives, and then we'll put our criteria, and then you'll rank that on a point system, and then you can look at, these are all of my trade-offs, all of the things that I can do. This is my number one choice, and then the second one, if you go to IU and Purdue was your second choice, then Purdue is your opportunity cost. If you join the military and your second choice was go to a 4-year college, once you join the military, the opportunity cost of going into the military is the 4-year college. You can't do both at the same time. Another important concept in economics is this idea of thinking at the margin. In addition to looking at opportunity costs, economists also look at the cost and benefits of adding or subtracting one more unit. In economics, marginal means additional. That is very, very important because we're going to be using this term throughout the rest of the semester. We'll talk about marginal costs. We'll talk about marginal benefits of anything, whether it's a decision, whether it's money, whether it's producing one more unit, it doesn't matter. So the marginal cost is the extra cost of adding one more unit. And the marginal benefit is the extra benefit of adding one more unit. And as long as the marginal benefit is greater than the marginal cost, it pays to add one more unit. An example would be, am I going to study an additional hour this evening, or am I going to go to bed early? Some of you say it doesn't benefit me to study another hour. I went to class every day, I listened, I took all the notes, I understand clearly. There is clearly no benefit for you spending an additional hour studying. So for you, the cost is higher than the benefit and you wouldn't do it. Some of you have missed class, some of you haven't watched any of the videos. Some of you don't understand, so you're thinking, okay, maybe if I watch these videos one more time and take an extra hour, I can definitely see my grade go up. So you're going to weigh the costs and you're going to weigh the benefits of doing that additional hour, or that, and producers do it. If I add one more employee, are they going to bring in more than what they cost me? If they will, then I'll hire them. If they won't, then I won't. So as long as the benefit is greater than the cost, then you will go ahead and do it. So thinking at the margin and opportunity cost, these two go hand in hand in economics. Many decisions are not all or nothing. You can do less of one thing so that you can do more of another. You might, instead of spending $100 on the jeans you want, spend $50 so that you can take that $50 and do a few other things. So, the marginal cost and marginal benefit, how much do you want those jeans, and what are the things that you have to give up? And if I take a little less of the type of jeans I want, then there are other things that I can get. Individuals do this, businesses and government once again. Individuals, sleep and job versus study time, I kind of already went over that. Businesses, how many employees to hire, I talked about that. And then government, how much to increase spending on government programs. If we increase spending on medical care or to help the poor, by increasing the money in these programs, what sort of benefit are we actually going to see from these? And this is really important. There is no such thing as a free lunch. When an economist talks about costs, they are referring to an opportunity cost, which is not always money. Every decision you make involves some sort of cost. And so whether it's I say, hey, I'm going to take you out to lunch and I'm going to pay. If you go out to lunch with me, what are the million other things you could have been doing? You have to give up that opportunity. If I pay, if you order one food, you can't order another. If we go to one restaurant, you can't go to a different one. So you have to look at this in terms of the way an economist would look at it, in terms of the economic cost, and not necessarily what's called the accounting cost. An accountant is only going to look at the dollars and cents. When economists are going to look up not only the explicit costs, which are the dollar and cents or the actual costs, but also the implicit costs. That's the opportunity cost. If you go to college for 4 years, it's not just the cost of the college, but what types of jobs and how much money could you have made during that particular 4 years. You're giving up that. So it's not just the tuition and the books and the housing. It's what did I give up in terms of working?